we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, and also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos as well. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the great folks at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out. The comments are starting already. Z is one mad individual right there for you. But if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source. Of course, the great folks at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out Ox 1947 today at LakersBall.com or our live watch party. These guys were talking up a storm. Sean Grice was hosting. Joe Soro was sharing his thoughts. Nick Medina, he was actually very good as well on the mic. So go ahead and check out what these guys were talking about today right there for you at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break at every time we go on the air for our watch parties. Plus also as well, Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and be part of the conversation today at Lakerholics.com. Shout out to Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet and our good friends at the Hoop Heads Podcast Network. If you can support all of them, it is sincerely appreciated. Well, already the comments in the world's best Lakers chat room have already started. The Lakers, unfortunately, head into the second half of the NBA season, much as it did in the first, with another truly disappointing game and poor execution down the stretch. They worked so hard all game long to climb up that mountain after they gave up a considerable lead. I think it's actually 17 to 19 point lead up to Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks in the first half. They worked so hard to get back, worked so hard to get ahead and pull ahead in the fourth quarter. But stop me if you've heard this before 19,000 times in the first half of the season. But the Lakers, again, couldn't execute well down the stretch. Gave up a three-pointer to Luka Doncic with just a few seconds left to send the game into overtime. There, the Lakers again had another opportunity again to go ahead and execute down the stretch, but didn't. So went to a second overtime and too much Mavericks for the Los Angeles Lakers as they end up losing in double overtime. 119 to 115 to go, 19-23. So instead of starting the 5-game homestand on a great note, and instead of gaining some ground in the Western Conference, the Lakers bungle an opportunity to go ahead and get themselves even closer to the 500 mark. Instead, they're drifting a little bit farther away. And here today to talk about the games, the disappointment, why in the world Myers Leonard is being tried out, and also thoughts on the NBA observations as we head into the second half of the season. It's a good man indeed to start off the show. He is man behind LakersBall.com. It's Ox 1947. Also as well, Simblades. If you want your lawn transformed and you're in the Southern California area, go ahead and check them out today. Simblades with a Y.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, as you were going through the ups and downs of the game, I was just hearkening back to our entire season to date so far in the first half. This didn't seem out of the norm.
I think you're making it worse than it actually was. If you were, they were playing well until not being able to guard.
Sean says no.
The problem is, if Luka doesn't make those shots, we're not talking about the game being a negative. The game, they played well. The problem is they can't close. The stars can't close. It's not just LeBron either. And LeBron, by the way, has been doing this his entire career. So we're not getting on a 20-year vet here. LeBron was doing this before. And it's likely cost him a couple championships because of it. But I digress. We missed free throws in Philly. We missed free throws. What was the game after that one? I totally went blank.
Indiana.
Indiana. And this is a mental mental fortitude game. You have to finish the game. As the great Mike Webster used to say, professional football player for the Steelers, Hall of Famer, center in the 70s, you got to finish the game. You have to finish the game. And as far as Z talking about Darvin Ham, I can't argue against that because Darvin Ham can't draw up a shot to save his life. I mean, seriously, dude, what the freak are you doing? It's like your idea is to give it to Troy Brown Jr., even though he missed or got fouled. I don't care. Look, they don't call those fouls 90% of the time. We know it's not right. Stu always talks about that. He's been talking about it for years. Expect that they're not, because now if they call it, then you guys are going to get all over the refs. And then Sports Center and us and everybody like, see what the refs did. And, So that's the one part where you guys kind of dug your own hole there. You want them to call that shot? I mean, come on. LeBron went to the basket finally, only to get blocked. But I think he should have done that before regulation ended because he got the ball quick and the defense was spread out. Mm-hmm. But apparently some guy sitting in his underwear at home can recognize this. That's a joke, guys. I'm not in my underwear. I'm wearing pants.
Thank goodness.
But Darvin Ham, I'm writing you another email now for that. That hurt my feelings. But Darvin Ham can't construct a last-second shot.
I'll just hit the spam button again.
You will read it, and you will like it. All right. Petting my cat. I'm wearing
the Lakers.
By the way, guys.
By
the way, Z, in this overly sensitive world that we live in, I'm not going to name any names. Gerald, you guys can harp on me all you want because that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk smack, talk knowledge, and make life a living hell for Gerald. That is all good TV. That's all good TV. And I love good TV. So I didn't think it was. I did not. My interpretation, sorry guys, was that they played a hell of a game until it mattered. So whatever you guys want to say after when it mattered, you're probably right. So it's just it's a burner, and I don't know. We need our team intact here. We don't have the ability to put somebody else in there to really finish things off. You're even missing what's our clutch guy, which is Reeves.
Would you have fouled Luka on that first 3-pointer?
No.
In regulation?
No.
And have him try to take the free throws, the 2 free throws?
Well, he was struggling, so maybe there's some merit there, but you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking he's going to hit a 28-foot three. No. It's just, I don't know. It's a hard question to answer because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If they double him, then they give it to Dinwiddie and he hits a 3, and then you're like, why is he open? Why did you double? It's a in the moment decision, in the moment reaction.
I think what's really frustrating about what didn't happen strategically, Gerald, is that Luka Doncic was able to play in double OT with 5 personal fouls. You didn't try and get him at the bucket at least once. Mm-hmm. And you're right. That's frustrating. John had a funny line there. I'm starting to get with the fire Ham chants in the crowd. You know what? This was another case of Darvin Ham being outcoached.
I agree with you. I mean, we talked about the early part where everybody wanted to fire Ham. Then as it got closer to halfway point, we saw some signs that maybe Darvin Ham is learning and actually paying him some compliments on some good things that he's doing with the team. And obviously getting Westbrook to go ahead and buy in on the coming off the bench and everything going on there was obviously a benefit to the team. But then we see nights like tonight that there's a long way to go because he can absolutely get out coached, and we saw that tonight. Do you agree? Disagree, Sean? Go ahead, Sean. You go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I agree. I agree 100%, Gerald. And Jason Kidd has coached over I think it's now close to 500 games as an NBA head coach. Um he's, as far as NBA head coaches go, I would put him in the average category. I wouldn't say he's one of the better coaches, but it's hard. It's hard at times to get a coached by him. But Darvin Ham found a way again. And what's more frustrating is not only are you giving these games away, but you're going to need 2 or 3 of these at the end of the season if you're competing with the Mavs or the Kings or the Suns for that 5th or 6th spot. You're going to need these games, and they've just given another one away.
I agree with Jeff, though. Jeff has a point that both you and Joe were making in regards to winning these type of games. I mean, there's four at least four that the Lakers should have won now. They're putting them in a much better position. And Joe said, similar to what Jeff was talking about, why didn't LeBron drive to the basket every time he had the ball? So, Joe, I ask you this, my friend, like Sean pointed out, 5 fouls on Luka. I would go at him every single time. He's a defensive liability in the first place, and this would have made it even so much more worse for him.
There's a mental part of the game that very few people can master. It's just Robert. We were talking about Robert Horry during the show.
Yeah.
Robert Horry was disliked by obviously Danny Ainge, and we know about the towel throwing thing. And if you look at it from an objective standpoint, Danny had a legitimate argument on probably why he was mad. We never knew what it was, but later on we knew. Robert Horry had said that he, through the grapevine, he had heard that Phil Jackson didn't like Robert Horry. And the reason why he didn't is Robert Horry never really gave it his all every time. And at that time, you had a 6'10" guy that could shoot lights out from deep, had a lot of ability to be great, but he wasn't because he was lazy. So, but where he made up for it was he was always there when it mattered in the end. Now, it may have cost him a Hall of Fame bid, but he was great where it mattered. LeBron is like the opposite. LeBron is probably the greatest, I could argue, is the greatest 3.5 quarter player ever. But boy, that last 6 minutes of the game, this is not just tonight. And this is not about him playing for 20 years. I guess if it was happening now for the first time, I'd be like, guys, his mind and body might not be all there. But this is stuff I had seen 10 years ago. This is the stuff that they always used to say, that LeBron always did the right thing. Is doing the right thing always what you're supposed to do in life? I had a really good example, but I don't want to veer off sports. But let's just say if a player says to the coach, give me the ball, and the coach goes, no, I'm going to give it to him, and then that player goes and wins the game, he did wrong, right? He didn't listen to the coach, but he won the game. Sometimes you got to do a little wrong.
Yeah, I've got a good example for you, Joe. I think it'll illustrate your point. When think about a decade ago, longer than that actually, the New England Patriots selected Sean Springs as a cornerback, and they were playing the Miami Dolphins. And Belichick tells this story about how Sean Springs didn't commit to his assignment. He left his man. However, it was at the 1 yard line and he intercepted the ball. But Bill Belichick, instead of congratulating him, benched him for the rest of the game because he said, "You missed your assignment. You didn't do your job, and you're not better than anybody else on the team. So I had to make an example out of you."
Well, I can say for tonight, LeBron is just really. I don't know if you want to say he's the sole reason why that the Lakers didn't finish off this game, but
He
man,
is.
he struggled. He struggled 24 points, but that's on 9 of 28 shooting, 0 for 7 of 3. He just needs to stop shooting threes at this point. I think
He
that
has to
It's
stop
not the
shooting
struggle.
threes.
It's not the struggle of that. It's
16 rebounds and 9 assists. That's great, but yeah, I mean,
It's-
just
it's-
seriously,
it's-
just the shooting. He needs to drive the ball more inside, especially with Luke at 5
And the
pounds.
problem is Darvin Ham is not doing me any favors. You know, when you're a coach, you're supposed to recognize, yeah, my star is LeBron James, but LeBron James does not take the goddamn last shot for some reason 90% of the time. And Nick said something right before we went off air where maybe LeBron didn't want to go to the basket because he was worried about getting fouled and missing 2 free throws. Now, I quickly went like, really? I'd rather. But then after a while, I started thinking about it. I'm like, is that
validation of
really
what
what
he
he's
said.
thinking about? Is he really thinking that?
I think so.
Well, if that's the case, then Darvin Ham, you're the coach. You should have a pulse on this team by now. Then get the ball to Schroeder. Tell him to get to the basket because that's the only guy that I've seen in the last few weeks that's been able to get to the basket. And then try to concoct a freaking something to where you can do some kind of pick and roll and get an open shot. Or put in Bryant, who's been hitting those mid-ranges, do a pick and roll with Schroeder. Guys, I don't – this is the part that frustrates me. It's not so much about the loss. It's what's not being done by professional coaches and professional players. I'm some guy in the middle of nowhere recognizing this, but why are these people not recognizing? That's their job. Why isn't someone from upstairs talking about it? Why isn't any commentator who watches the game apparently? I don't know if they probably just look at the box scores and just yap. Why aren't these things being conveyed and explained?
You know something, Joe? You know what the problem is? You have somebody upstairs sitting in the big chair who hired him who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about or doesn't know how to explain to his head coach what he's seeing and what you're seeing and convey it in a rational, competent, respectful way. I don't think that's possible. So everybody has to go through performance appraisals. Everybody. Well, you gentlemen don't. You own your own companies, but for some of us, you have to go through a performance appraisal. And honestly, Joe, I don't think Rob Pelinka can give Ham a fair performance.
Rob Pelinka was a
player. Doesn't know
player.
what he's looking at.
Rob was a player. He played. Granted, it wasn't the NBA, but he knows basketball.
Yes,
he knows
theoretically.
The thing we harp on Rob is he doesn't know how to do transactions correctly, which makes sense.
I don't think he evaluates talent.
And most don't. And even when Phil Jackson took the job in New York, I'm sitting there going, is Phil Jackson couldn't coach because he couldn't get on planes anymore. He's going to go to gyms and go find talent. Why is he taking that job other than for money? Well, that was a disaster waiting to happen. To me, these billionaires and these millionaires that are just complete buffoons.
Well, we all want the Lakers to do well, and part of that process is Darvin Ham doing well. The problem is if you have the blind leading the blind, you're blind.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to, guys. We would have been fine for a minute if Luka doesn't hit that 3. We go into it going, we played well, we dug ourselves a hole and got in. But that's exactly the point. The point is you have to factor in that you are going to have a Luka that's going to hit those shots. Heck, we got 20 years of that with Kobe. That was a Kobe move. That was Kobe and Luka, but it was Dallas. That's what I saw. Kobe would always do that to the other team, and we're sitting there going, "This guy," and the other team's like, "God damn, 2 guys on him, put 8 guys on him. What the hell? Why'd you leave him open? Dude, he's 28 feet away. What do you mean leave him open? It's just not. You have to adapt to that. How can you adapt to that? Well, you can adapt by creating a nice play that can give you a shot at winning instead of dribble, and then wait for the defense to set, which is what's been pissing me off. Why are you letting them set? As soon as he got that ball, LeBron, before regulation on that last shot, go to the hole. Why did you wait? Everyone was spread out. What are you waiting for? That's stuff the coach needs to recognize. Now, unless he knows what's going on and these guys are completely ignoring him, okay. But at the same time, after a while, dude, if you keep ignoring me, I'm going to freaking put a bullhorn to your ear. Dude, what are you doing? I told you to go to the hole right when you got the ball. You had the ball right there. All you had to do was just go. But it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that kind of gets put into a game, and you have to constantly adapt to what's happening. And unfortunately, the Lakers are not good at adapting in the end. And LeBron James has always been this player. He doesn't know how to finish a game a lot of times. He just doesn't. He's a great front runner, but he's really bad at coming back.
2 things, though, I want to add in. Once again, the Lakers, unfortunately, fall in double overtime, 119 to 115. Zangerstein said it correctly. It's really hard to go. Don't hear me going transition today, because Luka slows the pace down at all, every single time. So it's really hard to go ahead and keep a consistent high pace when Luka is really slowing the ball down. And for me, the second thing is he is such a liability defensively. You've got to focus in on that. And the fact he had 5 fouls on top of it just stresses the point. Go at him each and every time. If you lose, you lose, but at least you go out playing the smartest angle of it all. I still would have fouled him as far as in the regulation instead of him taking the last 3. But that's a 2 for 3. That's always an argument. What do you do? Do you foul and just head in the line, or do you try to, have him go and take the shot, the lower percentage shot? That's always a hearsay, because you can't say anybody's 100% wrong on that. But the guy had 5 fouls. And he's a liability on defense. He doesn't want to play defense in the first place. Sean, I really am stressing the fact that that's where you should have targeted. That, like you said, that's where they should have gone each and every time. LeBron should have posted him up each and every time and see what we could do.
100%, Gerald. I would have played the percentages there. We're just gonna pound the ball inside until he gets his 6th foul, and then he's out of the game. And guess what? The Mavs, they're not bobbing up down in the water anymore, because they're gonna drown. He is their Mavs. It's
Dinwiddie can give you some good play here and there. Christian Wood, you saw, can give you some good play here and there, but it all runs around Luka Doncic.
It all runs around Luka, Gerald. You're right. At times you can rely on Spencer Dinwiddie or Christian Wood, but let's be honest. Luka's the only consistent threat they have offensively, and they can leak oil like the best and worst of a team. And when he's not in there and he's not effective, they're leaking oil, and that's what we needed to do. And like you said, Gerald, for whatever reason, LeBron decided I'm not gonna pound the ball inside. Bully ball worked for 40 minutes. But for some reason, I don't think it's going to work in the last 2. I didn't understand the strategy.
I think we need to separate physical part and the mental part. LeBron backing somebody down late in the game after 20 years in the NBA plus playoffs, I get that. If he's tired, it makes sense. Okay. My issue isn't the physical part. My issue is the decision making and the strategy of what's going on. I understand LeBron might be tired. It makes sense. He almost played a full game tonight. I get that, and I want to make that very clear, because you're kind of being inconsiderate at that point if you're blaming LeBron for not going to the basket every single time. Dude, that's a taxing task. It's very taxing. What I don't understand is, why are you giving the ball to Troy Brown Jr. in a last-second shot? That's like Kobe passing to Shannon Brown. in the late 2000s.
I
When
hope
the
you were
hell
gonna
did
say
you ever see
Sterling
that?
Brown.
Never.
When the
I
hell
never
did you ever
saw
see
it.
that?
I
You
never
never
saw
saw
it.
that because Shannon Brown can't make that shot, and that's not the kind of player he is, and neither is Troy Brown Jr. It's just it doesn't make any sense. And this is not an isolated, it's not a tonight game. Like, okay, if it was tonight's game, well, they flustered at the last second on this one. Sorry. No, this is an ongoing issue. He keeps passing the right play out. No, the right play is getting that goddamn ball in the basket. And if you see an opening, go for it. Or put a guy who's actually making mid-range shots and let the guy who can handle the ball besides LeBron do a pick and roll with them. Let them commit, and then let Thomas Bryant hit a mid-range shot, which he's been consistently making. Dude, am I really going to have to explain how to play basketball tonight to the Lakers? This is stuff I'm watching. This is stuff I'm paying attention to. Why aren't they? Why aren't they paying attention? If LeBron doesn't want to have anything to do with the last second shot, use what you have. Use the guy that can actually make a mid-range shot, and use the other guard that can get penetration and draw the other guy in. And if he doesn't get drawn in, if they stick to one-on-one, then he's going to go to the basket and make the layup, because we can't expect Russell Westbrook to make a layup. We know Schroeder can.
And that's what Luka did himself. He played the percentage game with 5 fouls. Oh, I have Thomas Bryant at the top of the key. Well, he has no verticality and he has no lateral quickness, so I'm just going to use both of them. And he killed us. He killed us on those pick and rolls over and over again. It was either lobs at the basket or he would just shoot, like Zanger was saying. He would just kill Thomas Bryant.
But LeBron
pick and
had 5
rolls.
days off, and to be
Yes.
shooting so bad for a guy that had 5 days off, that's extremely disappointing. Lakers had 2 days off, yes, but when LeBron takes 5 days off, you give him that extra game, the ones that Joe always complains about, and rightly so, and you still don't get the performance on the back end that you think you're going to get from LeBron. It's highly perplexing that he allowed him, or of course you have to allow him, but it's highly perplexing that you go ahead and say yes or agree to him taking out himself on the Monday game when you could have had a chance to win that game as well.
I'm gonna go on record here and say the obvious. I would rather you play your heart out for 14 years than play lackadaisical for 20. And maybe that's what they used to do. And I know why they do it the way they do it now. It's because they want to earn another $400 million in the last 6 years. So, okay, I guess that makes sense, literally. But it creates what we see here. It creates a inferior game. And in the end, it doesn't matter because we're still watching. So maybe a lot of the frustration on my part is I can't get away from it. And I want to. I want to stop watching what they're doing now because I don't like it. But we have a show we're building. I love the Lakers and I love sports. So they got me by the balls, one way or the other.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do fall in overtime, double overtime, 119 to 115. It's Joe Soro, and I didn't get a chance to introduce him because he came right in here in the conversation. It's the madman from Toronto, the guy who just can't get out of Toronto traffic. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, along with Ox 1947 and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Truly appreciated. The Lakers just can't get out of their own way. They just do not like prosperity. All that good vibes from the 5-game winning streak are now evaporated as the team goes 19-23. I want to go ahead and touch on some things before we head out, including the second half of the season for the Lakers. Obviously, it didn't start off on the best note, Sean. Going in, the Lakers really had a chance to go ahead and make some waves, start this homestand strong. What are your thoughts on the second half of the season with the Lakers and what they can do from there? Because I know obviously speculation when it comes to the trade market, what Lakers, if anything, are they going to do in regards to getting more talent onto the roster? There's also talk of what we see as far as, let's bring in Myers Leonard for a workout or Boogie Cousins for a workout. I really think with what we've seen from Thomas Bryant, I really don't see the need to bring in another guy to sit on the bench as a 7-foot stiff. But your thoughts on the second half of the season, what the Lakers can do to right the ship? They're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. All these teams, there's so many teams right around 500. There is every bit in the world if the Lakers go on another hot streak like they did, they'll get back into it real quick.
Yes, Gerald, that's true. And that's a good segue into something I wanted to bring up. PMC had a great question. He asked us, "Is this season salvageable?" And while I would say that Rob Pelinka did pick up a lot of our bench from the actual salvage yard, we've seen enough games at this point to say this: is the season salvageable? With this roster, short answer no with a but. Long answer yes with an if. They need to make a move. That's 100% the case. We're just so damn small. The Mavs took advantage of it in the front court and the back court tonight. All of it. Our length and lack of length showed up at the tip of the ball, Gerald. We lost every single tip off tonight. Every single one. We got taken advantage at the rim. We've got taken advantage of on the perimeter. Our defense is terrible. I've been calling it wetting the bed all year, and I'm gonna continue to call it that because that's what they do until they get some reinforcements in there with some height and a little bit of jam. I don't see us going that far, man. I really don't. I think it's win 5, lose 4, win 6, lose 4, 7 until you actually bring in some consistent threats on the perimeter from a defensive point of view.
And also, as well, I want to mention that, yes, the Lakers did unfortunately just could not find a way to win, could not find a way to go ahead and make the right calls when we can see this. That's a shame, Joe. We can see this going on all the time. The problem is, can the Lakers get it done? They can't. They seemingly make the wrong choices at the wrong times. That's what an under 500 team does.
Yeah, you are what your record is, as Bill Parcells used to say. And last second shots are dreadful. They're like, I feel the dread before we get to that part of the game because I just assume that we're going to go into overtime if it's tied. Yeah, or we're going to lose because it's just I have zero confidence in LeBron James at the end of games. And this has been a 5-year watch. And before he became a Laker, it was also a problem. He's hit a couple of last second shots. He's probably made the most famous block in NBA history at the end of a game, but he's just not a clutch player. He's not a bona fide confident guy. He's not gonna clear that hill. He will never be the clearing of the hill guy. He'll clear the hill if everything's okay on the other end. Sorry to go into war cliches, but that's the only thing that came to my mind right now. However, it's the coach's job, just like Phil Jackson. We talked about this during playback. I'm sure you remember this, Gerald. For those of you who didn't hear it, it would have been nice, come to playback and watch the game with us. It's an entertaining 2.5 hours or 4 hours if you watch a Laker game because they always seem to go to overtime. But Phil Jackson, what makes Phil Jackson great? A lot of people will say, oh, well, he had Michael Jordan and he had Pippen and he had Shaq and Kobe. No. I want you to go back and watch that playoff game in '94 when he decided to use Kukoc as a last-second shot guy versus Pippen and what happened. And what happened after the little tiff that Pippen had. Kukoc dropped the game winner. You need to start making decisions as a leader on what your team's strengths are. Now, Reeves wasn't in this game. Reeves is kind of our clutch player, right? He's the guy that's been hitting a few of these last-second shots. But as a coach, someone who's been told that we're being told is a good coach, I haven't seen it yet, but that's what they're telling me. Can you put something together that can give us a shot here? Instead of not only missing the shot, but almost every time it's some discombobulated mess. Like, when do you prepare? If you set up the perfect play and the guy misses, I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to blame you, Darvin Ham. I know what a legitimate play is. The guy misses the shot. All right, well, hey, guys, he drew it up. You had an open 22-footer. You missed it. Instead, it's always this, some guy gets the ball, LeBron dribbles for 4 seconds when you only have 8, and all of a sudden he does this kind of stuff, passes it, and then the other guy's doing one of these. It's like, is that how you guys do it in practice? Because if that's how you're doing it, then you need to go. Go find a coach that knows how to draw up a simple play. And LeBron James, we're going to be hard on you. You have to be hard on LeBron James. You cannot be the greatest player of all time. Okay, forget about his career right now. You cannot be the greatest of all time and capable of playing, which you are. You got 24-16 tonight in your 20th season. You're capable of playing. Guys that are not capable of doing that are not doing that. You're doing it. Can you at least use the experience of the last 20 years? And again, and I say they as in usually the schmucks on TV. You keep telling me this guy's a genius. What's your definition of a genius? A basketball genius who can't run a simple play at the end of the game over and over and over again. You know why, guys? Pressure. We kept quoting Rasheed Wallace tonight too. What happens to that? What happens to that thing? It tightens up a little bit, right?
Pressure
tightens this up. So that's when you get all flustered, right? When you're pressured, you get flustered.
Pressure creates diamonds, but it can also burst pipes. We saw that tonight.
Just saying, guys. This is going to be interpreted for the LeBron fans. They're probably going to be like, Joe, you're just being the jerk. You're being hard on this guy. Yeah, I can see how that could be looked at. I can see it because 20 years, right? But it's just like when a guy is injured. If you're playing, I don't care. If you're playing, you're playing. So and you want to be the greatest of all time? You think you're the greatest of all time? Can you then at least use this then? Make the right call. Make the right play. What's the right play? No, the right play isn't always give it to the open guy because the other open guy is Troy Brown Jr. You can't give that guy that ball. I don't care how open he is. He's not made for that. I'm just saying, am I wrong? Am I speaking out of terms here? All due respect to Troy Brown Jr., but I'm not trusting him to win a ball game. It's not his game. That's not his responsibility. He's a minimum player. Come on. When is Darvin Ham going to sit down and go, I'm an NBA coach of the LA Lakers, run a goddamn play that works. If he doesn't make the shot, then fine. We know the difference.
I do want to mention Catherine Johnson asked about Jay Huff. I've mentioned Jay Huff previously on the program before as an option the Lakers go to if they're really infatuated with bringing another 7-footer here. He was with the team during training camp on one of their final cuts.
100%, Gerald.
I think he's just a better, younger option right now than Boogie or Myers Leonard.
Yeah, forget Myers Leonard. Forget Cody Zeller.
I don't think a center is the right deal anyways, but if you're infatuated with it, go with Jay Huff. He's averaging 16, 7, and 3 blocks at South Bay right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Gerald Glassford, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Huff has some verticality as opposed to Thomas Bryant. So, I mean, what we're going to lose in maybe lateral quickness.
That too, John. That too.
Yeah.
As far as Myers Leonard is concerned.
Well, yeah, that's not a good thing.
He's a little slow, Huff is. I understand. That's why he's not on the team now, and Damian Jones beat him out. I remember Damian Jones was actually supposed to be the starting center for the team, and look how that's worked out. But
Yeah. So you know what, Catherine? Unfortunately, we gave our 2-way deals to Cole Swider and Scottie Pippen Jr. So those are our two ways right now. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jay Huff signed an Exhibit 10 deal, but then he got waived and now he's back. So it's like Gerald was saying, if we're all out of options here in the front court, yeah, I'd rather see
but
Jay
the
Huff.
answer is not with a 5. Thomas
No,
Bryant has been
no.
playing very adequately. Wenyan Gabriel has given you a lot of energy off the bench.
w-
You're not even playing Damian Jones, so that position, unless you're going to waive Damian Jones, is really not where you should be focusing on. If you need to go ahead and focus on the areas that are going to help you better and help you more. Wings, as John was talking about, John McCallion from the John McCallion channel on YouTube. He's back to up and doing some great shows now, so go ahead and check him out and subscribe while you're there. Also, as well as some guards. Try to go ahead and get some taller guards so you can make Zangerstein's life a little bit easier. For God's sakes, she says every single time about as far as the height issues, yet you've got 6'8" Luka on Dennis Schroeder for a great portion of the game. That's a recipe for disaster as well. If not, Patrick Beverly is usually on him, and that's even worse.
It is worse. That is a lose-lose situation if I've ever heard one. Both of those scenarios. Yeah, you know what? Our perimeter defense is just it's we have the 7th best offense in the NBA with jack crap shooting. Jack crap shooting, and we're 7th in the NBA in offense. Yeah, center issue ain't the problem. The problem is on the perimeter when you got 1.5 guys trying
Who can't shoot the ball.
Jesus. I can't believe that Rob Pelinka is watching this crap and thinking, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm a genius. I put a really good NBA." No, you didn't, Rob. Not this year.
The
You
Lakers shot 24% from 3.
How
bad is that?
That is really bad. That is really bad, Gerald. That is you know something? Tonight it is on LeBron. He took the easy way out tonight.
Well, he looked gassed and he got 5 days off. That's what bothers me. You give him 5 days off and he still gives you this performance. That's very troubling to me. Joe, I mean, you've said it yourself as far as his decisions down the stretch, but all game long, if he has even a decent game after 5 days off, the Lakers go home a winner.
My issue with LeBron is what's been his issue and what's going to keep him from being the greatest of all time. And that's just not being able to, that's pretty much blue balling it at the end of every game. He's just not a clutch guy. He never has been. And any great player, any all-time great that's sitting at the 1 spot, that's not an argument. You talk about Tom Brady being number 1. You talk about Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth, Wayne Gretzky, if you had to pick all of the major 4, let's say. Messi just clinched his first World Cup, which, you know, it's if you're going to be an all-time, if you're going to be the number 1 spot, if you think you're the number 1 spot, you don't have deficiencies. You just don't.
Even if they get to 70% on their free throws, they win the game.
We're nitpicking it, guys. Luka doesn't make that 3. This is a win. We're doing jumping jacks right now.
Which 3?
I'm not talking about. That's a good point. I'm not talking about their. I'm not going to go into the free throw misses and all that. They had this game won, and they had an opportunity to end it even when it was tied a couple times. And they keep creating the same problem at the end of the game for themselves. The issue tonight is their inability to have enough fortitude to execute a plan, and that's it. That's where I'm sitting at right now. And when you have a self-proclaimed best player ever on the team who's still capable, being as flustered as a 10-day contract guy, what is that supposed to make us feel? That means the three or four games that we should have won, we would have won if you had enough gumption to execute the plan and make the play that needed to be made to win the game. It's constant. It's constant. And it sucks too because AD hasn't been playing, and we were winning some of these games. And that sitting that Denver game was just, that still bothered me up until today, because I just, it's just a loser's mentality. I can't connect with that. I just cannot connect with it.
Well, what bothers me is that you give him 5 days off and he should come in sharp. LeBron, at his age, I understand he gets tired easier. I understand all that, but the parameter is 5 days off. He should come in sharp, hitting his shots, at least in the first half. And he did none of that.
I know this will never happen, but I think the NBA, Major League Baseball, I think those two leagues really, really screwed up the collective bargaining agreement years ago when it came down to player participation. But it's worse now. I don't think it was as bad 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. These guys, if I'm the commissioner, I'm really going into the next meeting with this, saying, guys, if you guys are going to just miss games because you feel like you need to miss them, then we need to have something with this guaranteed contract stuff. I guarantee you that would solve the problem.
Oh,
Sean was talking about how John Sally, they were talking about how he was bad at the free throw line or not shooting as well as he could. And it cost you a certain amount of money by not hitting those free throws. He was in the gym nonstop hitting those free throws. We need to have incentive in this world. This goes beyond basketball. When you have incentive to do something, you're going to be more apt to be available and more apt to give your best. When you give somebody something that they didn't earn yet, they're always going to go the lazy. More often than not, they're going to go the lazy route. You're not going to find that Kobe Bryant that money is important, but he's still going to get up at 4 a.m. and do what he does. There's so many directions I can go with this, and I don't want to veer off too much. But at the end of the day, this has been a problem that I feel like can be solved if you have the intelligence to get to solve it. But unfortunately, we don't have any real leaders on this team.
I will say, though, that we are trying to go ahead and provide some clear
I hope so, Gary. I really hope so, Gary. I really hope that's the case. If Adam Silver,
the CBA is coming up, and then the NBA, he believes that the load management is
easier. If Adam Silver, and you guys know I'm a big Adam Silver supporter. He has kind of dropped off a little bit this last year or so, but in a lot of ways I can't blame him because he's been catering to a lot of the garbage that's been going on around him. All the inconsiderate people that didn't back him up when he backed them up when things kind of hit the fan. But I think his Adam Silver can really put a stamp on this in the next agreement and say, guys, I can't have this happen. But I don't know. I don't see it happening.
If they ever go the way of the NFL, that's going to be the problem. Like you say, the guaranteed money is not actually guaranteed money. It's like monopoly money where somebody can sign a $200 million contract and end up only getting a portion of it. If they don't hit the right incentives or they don't continue in their contract, where a team can just basically cut them for a small portion of the price and never end up paying anywhere near what they originally signed that player for. Or they can restructure the contract if that player is really doing bad, That's something that they do in the NFL as well. If the NFL, that player wants to go ahead and still bring that money in, some of them, as they know that their game is deteriorating, they can go ahead and restructure their contract as well. I think those are some things that maybe the NBA needs to look at. And if that's the case and it does get implemented, could restructure the way the NBA is played.
It's going to come down to the TV contracts, which the TV contracts never are never less than what the previous setup was.
Something's got to give, because one or two issues are going to be resolved. Like Gary were saying, if it's load management and you guys can't play 82 games, well then we're not going to play 72 and you're going to get your 28 million. You see, that 28 million was promised to you if you played 82 games. If you can't play 82 games, I'm not going to pay you the 28 million if we're only playing 70. That's not going to happen. So it's one or two issues are going to happen. Either the players aren't going to get what they want, or the owners aren't going to get what they want. And if the owners don't get what they want, the players definitely don't get what they want.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose in double overtime, 119 to 115. Before we head on out, guys, it is again the second half of the season for all these teams. The Lakers find themselves in 13th place while tied with Oklahoma City for 12th place. But right now, according to the way that I guess it falls out, they're technically in 13th, but they're still looking up at the Western Conference. Before we head on out, as far as the NBA is concerned, is there anything that you guys, and I'll start off with you, Joe, anything that you were talking about at the beginning of the season that you were looking at as far as team-wise that can reaffirms what you said, and then something that may surprise you, a team that may surprise you as far as how they're playing, or something that this season that you weren't expecting?
Not really. I'm not surprised with the current standings. I initially predicted Denver would be sitting up top. Memphis is going to play well. I'd say I didn't know Boston would play this well. I'd say that probably is the one that surprised me the most.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they'd be this good. But the East is very interesting. I don't get a feel yet on how that's going to turn out. The room is saying that the East is better than the West right now. I don't know if I believe that. Maybe it's a little.
The West could be just beating each other up.
Yeah, the West has been beating each other up for 22 years now, more than that. And I think that can go two ways. It could be one of those things where you're hardened, so when you get to the East, you whoop them pretty badly, or you can get worn out, and the East can take advantage of that. But I look back on the East. You look back and you go, what did it take for the East to be dominant in the end? The last, let's talk about this century. Who in the East has dominated all the way through? Maybe the Miami Heat in 12. No one really dominated like you're like, yeah, this East team is going to run through everyone. Really, no one. I mean,
I think the gap in both conferences is closer than people are saying. I don't think that the West is so far behind the East. I think it's very competitive. I think if they met in playoffs, as far as first in the finals, whoever comes out of the West and East, I think it's going to be a very competitive series. I don't think it's going to be a Boston sweep or a Milwaukee domination or anything like that. I think that there's some very competitive teams out there. I think the league itself, like Joe had talked about before, as far as the dispersion of talent is there. Sean, any thoughts on the second half of the season, my friend?
Yes, Gerald. I said it before. I'll say it again. I picked the Sixers to make some noise in the East, and I still think that will be the case. I think that they have a playoff roster. They don't have a regular season roster. But like Joe was saying, the East is really top heavy. You have 4 teams, and then you really have everybody else. It's Boston, it's Brooklyn, it's the Bucks, and Philly, and then it's kind of everybody else in the East. The West, as far as surprises go, Joe, I know at the beginning of the year we were kind of saying, New Orleans is 8-7, but they're really playing like a first or second place team, and that's kind of bared itself out. They're better than what they were playing at 500 in their beginning of the year. Memphis is going to be there at the end, I think. I really do. I think they're either making it to the semis or the Western Conference Finals. I think they got the right combination of jam, defense, and like Joe was saying, mental fortitude. I know Kenneth Stone disagrees with me, but I think Gerald did. Ja Morant is the best point guard in the NBA overall. Surprise team. Good surprise team would be the Indiana Pacers. Nobody had Tyrese Halliburton
But
leading.
he's out for at least a
Yeah.
couple weeks.
Yeah. So without him, I think
That could go
they're
south.
going to struggle. Yes, significantly. And then another surprise team is, I gotta say it. It's in my hometown. The Toronto Raptors are a really bad surprise team.
Don't forget about the Sacramento Kings. Light that beam for them because they're
Yes.
playing above 500, really hungry for that playoff drought to end.
100%.
Yeah, let's not put them under the bus just
Yep.
yet, but I don't know if they'll actually be able to sustain what they're doing now, but we'll see. But I don't want to say that we have these like big hopes for the Lakers because I don't think anybody I spoke to on the panel had them above 8th in the Western Conference. If memory serves me correct, I don't think I had anybody I think I picked them worst. I picked them 10th, but most everybody on the staff picked them 8th or 9th. So I don't think we have these grand designs on where the Lakers are going to end up this season. The thing is, though, if there's no moves made, it's just really going to be a really uphill battle for the team.
Yeah, again, the NBA right now is starting to look like a parity league.
Yeah,
you really don't know who's going to win it all. Mm-hmm. And I even the 2012, the East, even the 2012 Miami Heat, they were down 3-2 against Boston in the East Conference Finals, and LeBron had to turn into Superman the last 2 games to win that series. So the East, honestly, we can honestly say since Jordan retired in '98, the East has never really been dominant. That's 24 seasons to where you're like, yeah, man, that team it's going to run through the East and then tear up whoever's in the West. And then now you're getting to a point where the parity part of the NBA, and I don't know if this is something good for the NBA. This is going to be probably the first time since the 70s where you had parity.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Knicks win in 70, Bucks win in 71, Lakers in 72, Knicks in 73, Boston in 74, Warriors in 75, Boston in 76, Portland in 77. 78 was
the Bullets,
and then 79 with the Sonics. So look at you're looking at no back-to-backs. You're looking at weird teams like the Sonics winning it and the Blazers. And at that time, the Warriors, when you were used to seeing Boston and St. Louis Hawks and Philly and the Lakers and Minneapolis winning, that was a pretty diverse thing. And unfortunately, that was actually the worst decade for the NBA. So, and that's what, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being the MVP in that decade. So I don't know if parity is good for the NBA. I think the NBA needs dynasties. I at least that's what I've been used to. And if you don't have that, what comes of the league? Are we going to wait for Memphis to win it all? Does the NBA really want a Memphis Grizzlies to win it all? Maybe. Ja Morant's a good player, but I don't know.
They've got a nice mix down there. Them, New Orleans, they've got now and for the future. Not only are they've got young talent on those teams, but also as well they've got a trio that they can build upon for both those teams. And then Z was talking about how the Raptors and the Clippers, they're struggling because they have too many wings on the roster. But that also means that they can probably make trades easily make more trades than what the Lakers or other teams can do coming up here.
We
in
have
this,
to
what,
come.
2-3 weeks.
We have to understand for the 100th time, the Lakers are not trading those picks unless it's for a difference maker who would lead them to the championship. A player that would very well warrant a risk to take him to the championship. Laker fans, Laker Nation, whomever it is that's looking at the Lakers right now, understand this. Go ahead, Sean.
I disagree wholeheartedly. Got to be. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think that there's a huge difference between a Luka team and a John Morant team. See, here's the difference. When Luka goes on the court, he doesn't necessarily inspire his teammates that they're going to win that night. They may win, but he's not going to inspire them to win. When the Memphis Grizzlies go out on the court and John Morant is playing, they actually think they can win every game. That's the big difference. That's why a lot of people who watch hoops kind of separate Ja from everybody else from that group, because he inspires his teammates to believe they can win. That's different.
That is different indeed. But great conversation. I want to thank Joe and Sean for stopping by on today's program to be a part of our great conversation on the second half. Also, the best Lakers chat room that's out there here at the Lakers Fast Break has had a great conversation on the game, what needs to be done, what we're hoping for, and obviously what's happened in the second half as well as Sean exits. But Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
I was trying to make a point initially about I totally forgot.
And Sean is back again.
Hey, Sean. What was I talking about before Sean was talking?
That you missed him greatly?
Yes. Beyond, besides that.
All the 5 seconds he was gone.
Let's see if the crowd can help us. What was I saying?
I think they're stunned right now. They're in stunned silence.
Okay.
Oh, you would take it's the Luka Morant, I guess, argument that Sean was trying to create. No,
it was something else. Anyways, I'll remember it later.
Okay.
It was because of the trades.
Mm-hmm.
We are not. The only way we're making trades is if the Lakers are getting an impact player. I'm talking next level impact player. They're not going to trade for someone without having to give up picks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not doing it for marginal players. This is something everyone needs to come to an understanding with. What we were hoping to wait, and I say we loosely, I wasn't waiting till the deadline was, we were hoping that there was a team out there that had a contract that they wanted to get rid of, a la Pau Gasol in 2008. Someone who's skilled and looking to dump salary. They don't want to pay anybody beyond the current year. There's really no one out there. And it hasn't really been going on lately. Not a lot of people have been doing that anymore. And I'm not expecting it to happen now. We're not going to go get Kyrie. No one's going to go trade, I don't know, Bam Adebayo for expiring contracts. This is not going to happen, guys. I want you guys to understand that, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. I want you guys to understand that you follow the patterns. The pattern right now is our leadership doesn't know what they're doing, down to the players.
Mm-hmm.
Management doesn't know how to build a team. They're clowns. Jeannie, Rob are clowns without makeup. And the only way you're going to be able to get the team you want out of this is if people decide that they want to come here, like LeBron did. And Anthony Davis demanded because he knows his agency is going to push it and make it happen, not Rob going, hey, I know what I can do for you. No one gives a crap what Rob Pelinka thinks or does. No one does.
Well, we'll see what happens. His side businesses that he came to Los Angeles for haven't worked out quite as the way he's planned. House Party is being released this weekend after it was delayed, taken off the movie schedule, put in one of the worst months for movie box office in January. So we'll see if it actually does earn money this MLK Jr. weekend, and maybe give some LeBron some solace in the fact that he didn't play so well tonight. But once again,
movie people, studios like Warner Brothers have been sucking at their job.
Yes, they did, and you're not the beneficiary at all, because the fact that the viewers out there have to end up paying for it. HBO Max just announced a price hike that they're now more expensive than Netflix.
Yeah, well, here's the deal, people. You need to speak with your wallet. I watched Black Adam last night, and while it wasn't as bad as some have said,
that was all right. I like Pierce Brosnan.
It was okay, even though Pierce Brosnan kind of looked like he probably shouldn't have come back. I think he should stay retired.
He's never been retired. He always does B movies. That's why. That's why you never see him.
He retired. In my book.
That essentially is retired.
Yeah.
Would you consider GoldenEye a B movie, Gerald?
No, we're talking about his career as he got older. He's been a lot of direct to streaming, direct to DVD, those type of. It's with all those big names like Morgan Freeman, Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson. For every one movie they do that's notable, they do like 10 others that you've never seen that go straight to streaming or DVD.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The game that when you find out the numbers are 190 to 260 million dollars for a film that should have been made for 150 million, and then you marketed it for, let's say, 100 million versus, so that's 250 million, which is a lot. That turned out to be almost 500 million. Now that number becomes a problem. And this comes down to people not knowing what they're doing. Just because you have money, just because you have cachet, oh, I'm Warner Brothers, doesn't mean you know what you're doing. In the sports and art world, you have to adapt at all times. And even when you do all those things, you could suck. Because the audience is all that matters, guys. The audience in a performance service industry is all that matters. Not your feelings, not what you want. Sure, you're Julia Roberts, you're whatever, and you want to make a particular movie because you feel great about it and you want it to mean something. Yeah, cool. But be prepared for it not to work. Because there's many fans out there that want to see Julia Roberts and Aaron Brockovich. They want to see that Julia Roberts. They want to see The Rock in Fast and Furious. Those kind of things, right?
Well, Julia Roberts just found out she's not even a Roberts.
Yeah, I heard that too. I bet if we went back to the annals of time.
You're not a Soro. I'm not a Glassford.
I'll find out I'm some.
You're not a Grice, Sean. Sorry.
I'm probably some Bolshevik from God knows what because of God knows where. We all think we're something until you find out you're not. I think that's always funny.
Once again, it's the Lakers.
Singer steamed.
Joe, we saw the majority of the audience love trash. Sorry.
That's a great point, Z. By the way, Z, you've been beating the crap out of me tonight. Yes. And I'm sure Gerald is feeling. Gerald, you made Gerald a very happy person tonight because I've been on Gerald pretty much since we got on, or he got on playback about.
I had even off when I wasn't even on. They were saying it was supposedly behind my back, but I was
so much. Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't talk. I knew you were listening. I'm watching who's on there. I don't talk behind people's backs. I mean, I have.
No, you weren't that bad.
But I prefer to say it to your face in front of an audience.
Yes.
But a lot of people can't handle that either. They're like,
I'm going to mark you as spam.
Could you have done that? Could you have done that when we were just no? I don't want to do that.
I'm going to
That's
mark
not
you
fun.
as spam.
This is
Spam.
fun.
Spam.
Zangerstein has got your back all night. She's been
Z
beating
has
me up.
been incredible today. The whole chat has been great. I love the conversation. Today was actually a very productive, very good chat. It is the best Lakers chat that's out there.
The best.
Lakers. Yes, the Lakers Fast Break. I don't know if Joe or Sean will be up for a Lakers History 101 tomorrow. That's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do one next week if that's if they can't do it tomorrow. So I'd like to do that. On the schedule should be back on NBA observations. I'd also want to get the trivia thing started later this month. So definitely want you two to go against some prime contenders. So anybody out there interested in competing against these two in a trivia challenge, go ahead and let us know. Lakers.
Yeah, well, I dropped a little bit of a feeler, guys, just so you guys know. Yes, I do know who's won the championship every year.
Okay.
And so does Sean. Sean was quick with the 78 bullets. And he didn't say Wizards. He said bullets.
I'm just going to say right now. Yes.
And for that,
again,
you will always be my friend.
We will have a trivia show that's coming up later this month. We're going to start doing a trivia show on a regular basis, Lakers trivia. So if you want to be part of that, Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com or Lakers Fast Break anywhere you get your social media, you can always get a hold of us at. Plus, Courtside Lakers on Instagram. We were part of that and truly appreciate Henry for allowing us the opportunity for being a part of that. He was a little bit at the beginning talking to you, Sean, early in the game on, of course, our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. So thanks again to Henry for that. But we will be back. If we're not back for tomorrow, we will definitely be back for the game that's going to take place on Sunday at 6:30. It's the Philadelphia 76ers. Can the Lakers at least get revenge on them for the way that they dropped that game, coming back from 10 points down with just a few seconds left? They had a miracle comeback that was just short because the Lakers couldn't hit free throws. Can they find a way to right the wrong on Sunday at 6:30? And, of course, we'll be back around 9-ish. 9 looks like as far as the time is concerned. So looking forward to that. But, Sean, Joe, I already turned it over to you. Any last thoughts before we head on
out? They need to win this back-to-back, Gerald.
They need to go they need to finish out the homestand, win the entire thing.
Yes. I
said 4-1. This wasn't supposed to be the one.
No, it was not. Yes, I agree. 4-1. So now they need to go 4-0 for the rest of the homestand.
Yes, absolutely.
There's no excuses.
Indeed. But if you have any questions for us, you can always leave it. Joe answers comments on YouTube. So do I. Sean does as well. Also, as well, we go ahead. You can hit us up on Twitter, TikTok, Trovo. You can go ahead and try us there. Twitch, follow us there. You can follow us on Facebook. We just got a follower on Facebook during our comments tonight. I want to thank so much Josue Juarez. I believe that is correct. I probably butchered it, and I'm sorry for doing that, for following us on Facebook now. Thank you so much. And if you get a chance, please go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube, because that's really important for us to do. Go ahead and be liked and be subscribed to on YouTube. We're back over 400 after what happened last week when we had the major bailout because we got a lot of trolls that we got out of the woodwork there, but we're back over 400, shooting for 5, and you can help us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much to Z and everybody else. Z says, Jim, it's not fake if it's tied or they already had the lead and lost it. Yeah, it's just one of those games, again, where the Lakers should have gotten it done, and unfortunately, this is a season that they're not getting it done in the clutch like that. So, once again, the Lakers lose in double overtime, 119-115, but we'll be back for sure on Sunday around 9 p.m. Looking forward to it. From the crew here to the crew out there, we thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thanks for watching and listening, everyone. Stay safe.